Welcome to Talk Dirt to Me, where two farmers shatter myths and take on the top issues facing America's farmers. Here's your hosts, Logan and Bobby Lee.
What's up, everybody?
Yes, another good evening. But back to our normal recording time.
Yep.
More or less.
Late at night, drinking bourbon. Bobby Lee's got his Coke Zero. What you sipping on, Bobby Lee?
Cherry Coke Zero. yeah, I was about to say it's Cherry Coke Zero.
Marcus said he misses our what you sipping on thing. And,
yeah, well, what are you sipping on?
Actually, I'm sipping on Yellowstone, the hand-picked collection.
Oh, yeah, that's from our official
bourbon sponsor.
Actually, I was just texting him that if the weather holds and nothing breaks down and the good Lord is just willing.
Several variables in there.
Right, there's a bunch of variables. I may be cutting his hay next week.
There you go. Well, there you go. Well, we got a lot of ground to cover on here. We got a lot of questions and emails and comments we want to get to. But before we do all that, we got a couple of things we want to do. First, we want you guys to hit that like button, hit subscribe, comment on the episode. Our Spotify folks, we're at like 501, so you guys crushed it. Apple folks, we're at like 345. Apple actually took a couple away from us on there. I don't know what the deal was there.
It was bots.
Probably. I bet it was. Probably the like 2 1-star ratings we got. But
yeah,
they we're still holding a perfect 5.0 on both of them. So please leave us those ratings. It does help out a lot. Guys, we really can't stress enough how much it would help us out if you would just share this episode. Share it with your friends, all the people you can think of. Anybody you see, tell them. Last night, I was in Walmart, and I saw a buddy of mine, another farming pal out here, and I just hadn't seen him in a while, and he was like, man, I've listened to every episode. He said, every Friday, I tune in. And I said, man, I appreciate that. So that's always a good feeling. So if you happen to see Bobby Lee and I out in the wild, tell us that. It's always cool to hear it.
Yeah, I have people in the office or wherever. We appreciate that. Appreciate you listening, just first of all, but then we appreciate you.
That's right.
Saying something to us.
That's right.
Letting us know you listen. But the best way, is to go ahead and leave that rating and review.
Leave those ratings, reviews, share with your friends, and comment. And if you want to submit a question to us, you can do that in the comments on Spotify, YouTube, or the easy place for me to keep up with them is for you to go to talkdirtpodcast.com, go to the contact page, fill out that, and then I can it just makes it easier for me to keep up with them. So we got a lot of those tonight. And what else?
Y'all check out agzaga.com. Like I was just mentioning, I cut some hay today. I'll be, probably on Saturday. I'll be rolling some, wrapping it in that Tough bayonet wrap that I got from agzaga.com. And I did not pay full price. I used that discount code TALKDIRT20. Takes $20 off $50 minimum order, whatever you get, not just the bayonet wrap. I think the UTV, ATV kind of sprayers, that's always a big popular one this time of year.
Actually, I'd like to get another one for my side-by-side. And I know they've got one that's like a 25-gallon or something that goes in the back.
They've got a variety of them. I got one from them. I think I got one and I bought my dad one too.
Yeah,
I got a boomless.
Okay, I bet that's the one, the Pioneer over there at the birdhouse. It's got like a 25-gallon. It like fills up the bed.
Yeah. That's one that came from them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Yeah. What's the brand of those? Ag Max or something?
I want to say it's like Ag Spray, maybe.
Acme.
I think they're actually made in the USA, and so
I think we've covered them before.
Yeah, but Lord, my list is 240 something.
Hey, somebody did mention. Speaking of the list, somebody had a suggestion for how we could get that done, and I had not thought about this, and I should have thought about this because
just put it in like ChatGPT.
They said submit your list to the Terminator and let it generate the list with the
links.
And I'm like, hell, I should have thought about that. So we may try to do that. I'm not going to give you any guarantees, but we may try to do that. Yeah, guys, we do appreciate y'all. Use the code. I guess you did say TalkDirt20.
Yep.
So appreciate all y'all. And before we get into the meat and potatoes, top 3. This one's going to be pretty fun. We had a listener suggest this one. We did not get a chance. I'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room. last episode, 2 things. We didn't get a chance to do our top 3 because we just were having a good chat with Nick and Dale. Honestly, we went 2 hours. We just ran out of time to do a top 3. And then second, yes, we forgot to mention cocaine.
Yeah. And that's always a little tougher when we're trying to have a serious conversation.
But then, we got done and Nick actually was the one who was like, man, he said, I was going to try to get your cocaine reference in, or he said, you didn't get the cocaine reference. So yeah, I don't know. We're trying to, it's kind of like tonight. Bobby Lee and I both got our matching Tennessee corn hats on.
Yeah, I showed up and Logan was already wearing his. Like, well, I don't have another hat in my Jeep. And yeah, I can't go hatless.
Well, and I'm just so used to wearing a hat all the time. Yeah. But so top 3 tonight comes from, let me give credit where credit is due. This is actually one of our emails, one of our submitted questions on here. And this comes from Kyle. Kyle writes in, guys, hope y'all are doing good. Y'all have often said that most people have no idea about farming or understanding how a farmer makes their living. I can always remember knowing and appreciating the farmers in my community. They were often the first to help or get involved in the community. Have people really forgotten about the farmer, or did the farmers change with the times? Food for thought. It would be cool to hear y'all's top 3 times your parents busted you doing something you should not have been. So we'll come back to your top part. I mean, I just, he may be right. Farmers, I don't know though. Yeah. I almost feel like we're like the John Dutton where it's like, what does he say? I'm the wall that progress bangs its head against or something. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of the farmer.
That was the gist of what he was saying. Like he's here to stop the progress.
Yes. And that's kind of still the way I raise my kids. I'd say probably the way Bobby Lee raises his kids, the way we kind of live. Like there's a lot of people that don't. I feel like it's still kind of like old school.
Well, and I mean, this topic we've hit on before, like with the progress, the urban encroachment, and part of me, I won't say a chuckle, but the boogeyman now has all of a sudden become the data centers.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that.
Like all the farmland's being, sold off for data centers. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm being too dismissive of it, but I'm like, I mean, are there going to be millions of acres covered in data centers? I mean, I understand like if it's your farm, like and you're right there on the edge of a big urban area, because I don't know like how big is the footprint for a data center? Man,
I don't know. I feel like it's probably I feel like it's got to be more efficient than solar panels.
Right, exactly. That was my thought. Like solar panels will cover in hundreds,
and that's a question we've got tonight,
if not thousands of acres in one, like just in one spot.
I feel like what's a data center? I mean. I don't know. Is it like 100 acres or something?
Eyesore of a building that you wouldn't want like in your backyard.
It uses like a tremendous amount of water, don't it?
Yeah, water and energy. And look, and I'm generally up, but the whole like when the social media mob comes after anything, I kind of roll my eyes.
What side of the page is the food babe on? Because I generally like to be on the opposite side she's on.
I bet she's anti-data center.
I was going to say that in that case, I'm like, oh, hell yeah for those.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
But it's like every third post that I see on Instagram now, which that's probably just because I click on them or whatever. So my algorithm feeds
if it's either bouncing boobs or data center fear.
Data center fear or like Tennessee football.
Yeah.
Like that's my algorithm. Yeah.
Nice. All right. I'm going to let Bobby Lee start this one off.
Okay. So 3 times. So there's 2 that are just immediate. I may have to thank for the third.
And I knew one of these and I was off air.
It's an infamous story. My dad now thinks it's hilarious. I don't think my mom ever thought it was funny. So I'll start with that one. I was actually at a friend's house, former guest on the show. We've been pretty tight for most of our lives, and we're no different when we were in high school. I think I had actually just graduated. I would have been like, which I was young. I was either about to turn 18 or just turned 18. Anyway, his parents were out of town. We were having a party.
Yeah.
Well, for our younger audience, in the old days, which I guess it's pretty easy to butt dial people now too with these.
Yeah.
But then we had flip phones before we had these. Well, he had like the old like Nokia phone, I think. And he butt dialed my parents.
No, what are the odds?
And in my defense, like I was already asleep. Like, no, we had been drinking and cutting up, but this was a party. Like, there was a bunch of people there, but I think I actually had like a baseball game the next day. So I was like, no, I'm not staying up till like 3 a.m.
Yeah. Did minor amount of cocaine.
Right. But they were, of course, this is in the old days, they called the landline. And the kind of the funnier thing about it, in hindsight, it left like a 20-minute message on the answer machine.
It's your parents' house.
Oh, yes. And so, like, I was asleep. All of a sudden, somebody comes with me, like, dude, your mom is here. I was like, what the hell? Like, it was probably midnight. I was like, oh, shit, And she was pissed. Like, it was clearly a party. So, yeah, kind of the rest is history. But what was even funnier is the next day I realized I had a voicemail as well. Like, he was butt dialing everybody.
Oh, so he even had called you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was just going through his. I think he was a little more rare form than I was, and the whole voicemail was just like it's in his pocket, so it's like.
Wasn't they using foul language? I think I remember.
Cussing.
Yeah.
My dad would laugh. He's like, "Does he always talk like that?" So he thought it was pretty funny, but yeah. I remember I made it home and like I was like, "Whoa, I might have avoided like getting in serious trouble." I think what happened. When I got home once, because my mom's like, here, go home. And like, I drove home and she followed me home or whatever. And when she got back home, my dad said, well, had he been drinking? I guess it had never even crossed her mind that her sweet little boy would have been drinking.
Yeah.
So she came in there to my bedroom. She's like, hey, give me a kiss. She's like, you've been drinking. Of course, I had one beer.
Yeah. Of course you did.
Yeah. But
like every cop's ever heard that story.
I did. I had a beer.
And then some others on top of that.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a long time ago.
I use that same strategy on.
God dang, this makes me feel old. That would have been 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy to think about.
So that was one. Next one won't be as long. And this was one anything where we weren't trying to get caught, but it was just the worst ass whipping I ever got was for some reason my brother and I got to throwing hands in church.
Oh, wow. Nice. That's
I don't
really
know.
good.
We were probably like 12 and 8. There's 4-year age gap, but maybe like 14 and 10.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like
you got tore up.
We threw punches at church. I don't think we weren't like rolling around the floor, but I remember, and it was bad. I think what made it even worse, our grandfather was still alive. And so my dad was incredibly embarrassed, not just we were fighting in front of the church, but I think of how bad how mad it made our grandfather. We got home. And yeah, it wasn't one of those where like he had time to cool off. No, I think he got hotter and hotter.
The more he thought about it.
Okay. I'm going to have to think for a second for number 3. So you go ahead.
And I can remember back like when you and Drew would be together, because it wasn't all the time that all 3 of us would be together on the farm. But I can remember times, man, y'all would get into it. Gosh dang it. I used to think like, because I was 4 years younger than them. So I'm like. Well,
he was whiny and I would pick on him and he'd get to whining.
Man, y'all would get into it. And I was like, damn, I'm going to have to try to step in between these 2 guys. So, man, I was trying to think of where to begin. I always got caught every time I ever did anything. That's what I told people. I'm like, I couldn't get away with anything.
Yeah, I didn't raise just an enormous amount of hell.
And I really didn't either. I guess if I looked at the times I got in trouble, a lot of times women was my downfall on mine. But one of the most angry, and this one involved my mother was super mad, and then a friend's mother was super pissed at me. And so I was a typical idiot in high school, and it was a snowy day, and we were at somebody's house. I had not been drinking. It had no alcohol, but somehow we had a fire going, and I just wanted to show how tough I was. And it was these 2 pieces of metal. They were just like, it was like an 11 or something. It wasn't even anything cool. But I was like, brand me. I was like, give me a brand. And so a buddy of mine was like, you sure? And I was like, yeah, because there were several girls there. So, I wanted to.
You were showing out.
Yeah. And so my buddy put it on my arm. It was like up here. And it's not even, it was this arm. But you can't even see it anymore. Like he didn't burn it long enough. He put it on my arm and it started sizzling. He was like, I can't do it. And he pulled it on. I was like, put it back on. I was like, come on, man. And so he put it on there for a little bit, but he didn't burn it like super good. But it was I mean, I had to like hide it from my mom. It lasted for several years, but it has finally faded away. When Marcy and I first started dating, it was still there. But fast forward, my mom did not know about this brand, and several months had gone by. And me and some buddies went camping out at Mr. Roberts Lake. And one of our buddies, he was like, give me a brand. And so we took a coat hanger and we bent it into like an X. We at least made a shape out of it. And we like legit
something cool, like
something cool, an X. We like legit branded him. Like it like burned into it, like it, and he's probably still got it today. And so, but this dude, he was telling us to do it. He was like, I want you guys to do it. And so we branded him. All right. I don't know, a week or a couple weeks later, I am at like a buddy's house and my phone rings and it's no, I know what it is. His mom shows up. It was me, him, and another buddy all over at this one buddy's house. And his mom shows up and she comes in there and she's like, you to him. I almost said his name. I'm trying to keep his identity unknown. She's like, get out here. Come on. We're going home right now. And then she turned and looked at me and she goes, and I could choke you. And I was like, what? And like, she was so fired up. So I just knew this wasn't my first rodeo getting in trouble. So I was like, I better head on home because I know the phone call's coming. And sure enough, I'm like leaving. I'm on my way home and my phone rings and I just answer it. And my mom, I don't remember, she's like, you get your, and I'm like, I'm already on my way. And so I get home and what had happened was my buddy, his mother had found out about his brand. Well, he had told his dad that we like forcibly branded him. And so like he literally made us, especially me, take the fall for his choice. And I'm like, because I get home and so then my mom's like, do you know how bad that had to hurt? You have no idea what that felt like.
He was like Ralphie blaming Schwartz.
He was. It was Schwartz. It was Schwartz. And she goes, you have no idea how bad that had to hurt. And I said, yes, I do. And she goes, how would you know? And so I revealed the brand, which only amplified the anger. Yeah. And she just
sounded like a good idea at the time.
It did. The final piece on that just capped it off, which my buddy's mom ended up apologizing to me. She's like, I'm sorry. But so to cap it all off, my mom goes, you just wait till your dad gets home. And I was like, oh gosh. And so my dad gets home and I'm in my room and he comes walking in, he peeks his head in, he goes, man, you got some mad women after you. And then he just walked out. And then he got in trouble because, he didn't get on to me good. So that was my number one, probably for sure. Have you thought of your other one?
So you got in trouble for branding someone
that asked us to brand him, right, but he made us take the fall.
Yeah.
So
then were you a good soldier and just took the fall for him, or did you?
I guess so, because but now his mom, like I said, she called me and apologized. Actually, years later, I talked to his dad and he like recounted the story to me, or he asked me about the story and I told him the rundown. He goes, well, that's a hell of a lot different than the story we were told. And I said, well, I hand on the Bible. That's the story that happened.
Did he ever clear it up with his parents?
No, he's still to this day. He's like, I'm the fall guy. So what's your last one?
Man, there were plenty of times when I got my ass whipped, but it was just, nothing too exciting. I'd push my brother down.
Well, then we'll do the top two. We'll do that one.
Yeah, I don't have it like those. When you said top three, I was like, all right, well, I know the two.
I knew that number one was going to be yours.
And then like I say, I never had an ass whipping like I did after we got caught. Or when we got caught, like we were doing it right there in church.
Yeah.
My parents are always big about back when you used to get a whipping at school. Like if you get a whipping at school, you
get one at home. Yeah.
The few times that happened. There's kind of the funny story about when I got suspended from school for a couple of days.
Your knife?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't even.
Yeah, right. My parents, they were like, they weren't mad. It wasn't even one of those situations where they're like mad or disappointed. The school completely overreacted to that. But anyway, that's a really long story. Back in the 1990s when
In the 90s, in the 19th century.
1900s.
Yeah, 1900s.
Because I understand it's a different world we live in today, but I had like a simple folding pocket knife. Actually, that story also involves a former guest. Maybe he's just a bad influence.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he was with you, wasn't he?
Yeah, we both got suspended.
Yeah.
Like I say, we ran around pretty thick.
So now, would it have been? See, when I was a senior, we had a buddy that brought 2 Uzis, and we shot them after school. Would that be worse than the pocket knife?
Well, did he have them in the building?
They were in his truck in the parking lot.
See,
I don't think he had them in his backpack.
Yeah,
that'd have been bad.
I mean, as the name would imply, I had a pocket knife.
Yeah,
but I remember when I was like 7, 8 years old, my dad. We were doing something one day. He's like, "Let me see your knife." I was like, "Well, I don't have one."
He's like, "What kind of pussy kid are you?"
Well, he said, "If you got pockets, you're supposed to have a knife in it." And I took that to heart. And,
I got one right here. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a innocent little pocket knife at school, and they gave me a 2-day vacation for it.
Retarded. All right, my last one. We'll do top 2. My last one it's a little embarrassing. Going to reveal some very
Lord.
personal time in my life, which I told Bobby Lee, hell, on my old show, I talked about when I had my fertility checked when we were trying to get pregnant. So I'm an open book. So
that was a good story. People need to go find that one and listen to it. I remember I was crying listening to it.
Oh, man, that was an awkward time. I'll have to tell it on here sometime. But so I would have been in about the 8th grade. I didn't have a cell phone back then, and nobody did. This one we used with landlines. Even if you got on the internet, it was like the dial up, and it was like,
let's say 8th grade. How old are you in 8th grade? Well, my daughter,
14, probably.
Yeah.
Is that right? I was probably around 14 years old. 13, 14.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah. Yeah, because my daughter just turned 12 and she's going into 7th grade. So.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be 13, 14.
So this would have been like 2003, 2004.
Yeah. Yes, because what year did Nana pass away? 04 or 05?
No, it would have been So I was pretty sure I was in my 2nd year of vet school. And it was Valentine's, right around Valentine's Day.
Okay, was it 07?
So I started in 05. So 05, 06 would have been my first year. I believe it was in 07.
Okay, I got
February of 07.
Okay, well, yeah, this would have been 2005 or so. 4. Yeah. Man, damn, I still feel weird thinking about this. All right, so people don't judge me. Don't judge me here in this story. So this was back in the day, and some of these people, some people are going to hear this back. What the hell? So back in the day, I don't know, was phone sex a thing whenever you were, y'all probably did a little bit of that.
I'm going to say, I don't think I've ever engaged.
But you never had a chick kind of do that back in the day?
Well, I remember there was always, like, people be like, oh, you can call this number, and like, I guess it would charge you if you did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the weird stuff that went on pre-internet.
Yes, I was going to say, and it was dial up back then. But all right, so this chick in my class, again, I'm.
So is this when you calling something like 1-800?
No. This is like a girl that I know. Okay. No, I wasn't that desperate, but I was just, hey, man, I was a
teenager with raging hormones.
With raging hormones, and this chick and I had been talking this in my class, and hell, I was a good kid. People are hearing this like, God bless. I really was a good kid. But this chick and I had been kind of talking, and everybody back then was like, yeah, we did phone sex.
See, that would have been after my time.
Okay.
That wasn't a thing. Like,
yeah, there would be people doing phone sex. And basically all it is the chick would just moan on the phone to you. And you're like, oh, man, this is cool. So
would I want my kid doing it? No.
It's a lot better than some of the alternatives.
Yeah.
We weren't meeting up out under the bleachers. And
I was way too old for girls sending nude pictures to you. Like,
well, see, and that would have been like, because we didn't get like camera phones until I was probably a junior or senior.
I know, like people like with, kids that are significantly older than mine, or like some of like my buddies who like their cousins, like a good bit younger. It's like, oh yeah, now like these kids just send naked pictures to each other back and forth. I'm like, well, yeah,
It's a different time.
we didn't have. I remember I was in college first time I had a camera phone.
Yeah.
It was, and the pictures
Were terrible.
so grainy.
You'd take like if you wanted to send nudes back then, you'd have to take a Polaroid and put it in the mail and mail it to them. So this chick, I'll try to make this not super long, but this chick was kind of like, I thought it was going to happen.
Was it her idea or yours?
It was my idea, but she was kind of going along with it. And so we're talking at night, and she's like, hey, I won't do it, but I got a friend that will. And she said she's good at this. She does it all the time.
Oh Lord!
And I was like,
got the dirty friend.
Yeah, and little did I know I was walking into a trap, and so I was like, all right. So she said, here's the number. Call her. She'll do it. And I was like, awesome. All right. So I called the number. Well, this is at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And, I'm using the landline because I don't even have a cell phone. And so I call it, and the girl goes, why are you doing this? This is wrong. And like starts lecturing me on the phone. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? And she was like, you shouldn't be doing this, and starts like getting on to me. So I was like, okay, sorry. And I just like hang up the phone. Well, the phone rings, and I'm like, oh, hell no. Cause my parents are in bed, and I'm like, Dad. So I just like answer and hang up real quick. And, man, the phone rings again. I'm like, oh shit.
I'm sweating bullets this point.
I am. So I go and get on the internet because I'm like, back then, dial up would tie up the phone lines.
You were smart.
I was
resourceful.
So I sat on the internet for an hour. It was like midnight or later. And I'm like, surely to God, she has gone to bed.
I've given up.
So I get off the internet, and I go upstairs, and I get in my bed, and I like close my eyes. I bet my eyes ain't been shut 10 minutes. The damn house phone rings, and I am laying in the bed. It rings, and I can tell it rings a couple times, and then it stops ringing. And I know that it stopped ringing soon enough that it was answered. And I'm like, oh shit. And so
you'd accepted your fate.
I did. I just went ahead and I sat up on the bed, and I was waiting. And it was just shortly after that, I could hear that because I was upstairs. I could hear the stomping coming up the stairs, and all hell broke loose. My mom came in there. You did what? You asked us. And like honest, now the chick had kind of like overhyped it. She was like, he said explicit things. The mother called my mom and is like, he said explicit things. And I'm like, I don't even know anything explicit. Like, I don't know what to tell him to do. And so my dad was like, hell, Tanya, he's just curious. So he tried to help soften the blow for me. But that one was, and then I had to call the girl, the mother, and the other chick. I had to call all of them and the other girl's mother. I had to call all of them
4
the next
phone
day
calls.
And apologize to every one of them. My mom was like, you're going to call each and every one of them. Whew, I wanted to just die. It was so awful.
So did you have an ongoing relationship with either one of them?
I stayed friends with the other one. And actually, funny enough, I see the chick that busted me.
Did she know that the other girl was going to react that way?
No, she told me, she was like, she actually was like apologizing to me. And she was like, I did not know she was going to do that.
Yeah.
I see the other chick now. I see her around, and
is it awkward?
I try to not let it be, but there is a part of me that wants to be like, hey,
it's been 20 years.
Yeah, I want to be like, do you remember that time that you nearly got me killed by my mother? So yeah, there is top 2 times. Yeah, I could go down several. Your mom actually ratted me out on dipping tobacco when I was in high school. Did you know that?
Oh, but I would imagine that one wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, I pulled a stunt like you did. You just said earlier you had 1 beer.
I said I had a beer.
You had a beer. That's what you said. I had a beer.
I had a beer.
So I pulled a stunt like that. My mom came up to wake me up for school one morning, and I dipped grizzly, and she woke me up, and she's like acting all weird, and she goes, where's your skull at? And I said, I don't have any skull. And I was being honest. I didn't dip skull. I was a grizzly man. And so she was like kind of a him hauled around. She went downstairs, and later on I was talking to Dad, and he was like, well, your Aunt Mary ratted you out on it. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, your uncle told her they were mad about Drew dipping. And your dad goes, hell, Mary, Logan dips. And so then your mom was like, did you know Logan?
So I was assuming if my dad knew, then your dad knew.
Oh yeah, my dad knew since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would dip up at the shop and so.
Hell, you turned out good. You don't even use tobacco really anymore.
Not really, no. I mean, and honestly, I tell people, Dad the quote he used to give me was what Billy Wayne would say. You know, we joke about cocaine. I'm going to tell you guys this, a good, wise saying here. If you can't get your rocks off with beer and tobacco, then you don't need it. Bobby Lee's getting his nicotine right now.
Yeah. You're just a powerful suggestion. I was like, ooh.
He would say beer and cigarettes. Now, Billy Wayne smoked about 3 packs a day, but so I tell people all the time, like, man, I think dipping kept me out of a lot of trouble.
I had a client one time, and sadly, I think he was recounting a story of one of his family members that had a drug overdose. But it just, when you said, man can't, have all the fun he needs with beer and cigarettes. But this client threw in weed too.
Oh, a little weed
He's
in
like,
there.
these dadgum, these drugs these kids are doing these days. Like back in my day, you have all the fun you wanted with a little beer and weed.
Like a little freebasing cocaine. He's like, man, just a little heroin or something. Not a big deal.
I think probably the heroin where it went wrong. But I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, if you can smoke a little meth, I mean, shit. But no, that was, tobacco. I wanted some chaw the other day. I was missing it still. All right.
Top 3, yeah, worst times have been caught. Yeah, it's another one of those. I'm probably leaving out one, but now my 1 and 2 were pretty easy. Like, those immediately came to mind.
The 2 I mentioned popped in my
church
head.
and getting busted for having a house party.
Yeah,
when I was not legally old enough to drink yet.
Those 2 that I mentioned, that's what immediately popped in my head. All right, we appreciate it. Hey, if you guys have suggestions for top 3, top 2, whatever you want us to do, holler at us. We're open for them. All right. Let me see. I got an interesting topic, but I want to get to some of these. First, Henry did email us back a little while back. Henry is one I think we met, the young guy at the Louisville. Yep. He said, you guys had a great episode. I love watching Bobby Lee's top 3 TV shows. Even though I'm only 13 years old, I still like watching them. My top 3 would have to be, and he mentioned one that I can't believe I didn't think of, Home Improvement.
Did we not even mention that one as kind of like an honorable mention?
I don't think we did.
Yeah.
Home Improvement, Gomer Pyle, and Saved by the Bell. I think we did mention maybe Saved by the Bell, maybe in like an honorable mention. But Home Improvement's great. I love it. All those are good. Gomer Pyle, Saved by the Bell. Appreciate you. You know what? My kids, I've got them on Gunsmoke. I've been watching Gunsmoke here lately. All right. Bryson writes in. All right. He says, long response. Oh, this one was funny. I saw this one earlier. Yeah, here we go. Yes. All right. So this is an interesting one. It's a good one. Warning, long response. Well, boys, it has been quite a while since and long overdue that I have written in to give y'all shit. And to stay in line with some of Logan's favorite sayings, y'all have chapped my ass as of late. But before we get to that, let's touch on some of the other items. Y'all did disappoint a bit with your leaving out Clint from your Western list. Did I not mention any Clint? I figured good, the bad, and ugly, I'd have said.
Hell, I can't remember. But
I didn't say, man,
I would have thought there was no way we left him out.
I wouldn't either. I mean, hell, he's right behind me.
He is.
He said, what self-respecting Southerner doesn't have Outlaw Josie Wales on his list?
That's a good one.
That is a good one. If I didn't mention... I'd have been shocked if I didn't mention any Clint. Maybe I didn't. But they are my good, the bad, and the ugly, a few dollars more, fistful of dollars. Yeah, Outlaw Josie Wales, hang them high. I mean, shit, I love all of them. He said, hell with them fellas. Buzzards got to eat same as worms. Definitely crossed my mind. Yeah. As I recall, you also wanted people to write in and rag on y'all. Well, hell, that's easy. Bobby Lee, if I had to hear you bitch and complain any more about cows getting out because you're too cheap to actually put in decent fencing, I swear. If you would quit running off buying equipment every time you get 2 cents in your pocket and put in some solid 5-strand fence, you wouldn't have the problem.
He might be right.
He said, and Logan, then I have to start a GoFundMe for you to buy your trailer load of Vagisil with how much you piss and moan. And then here, our buddy Matt catches a stray here. You make our buddy Griggs sound like a ray of sunshine when he is talking about equipment manufacturers and parts prices. So sorry, Matt, you just got a stray. He said, and now for y'all actually chapping my ass. I am going to preface this with, I enjoy the hell out of the show, have listened to every episode and watched every episode of both your YouTube channels. I was raised in ag on a full-time working ranch, have many friends and family in ag. If I had a magic wand, I would be a full-time rancher and farmer. I am as big of a friend to ag as one could be. And with all that said, and here he goes. And this is, I read this, I don't remember, like a week ago, and I was like, it's valid. So ethanol is a complete and utter bullshit lie that is forced down every American's throat, raising cost on the manufacturing and maintenance of every gas-burning piece of machinery and vehicle out there. Bobby Lee, you and I hate the government and taxes with equal fervor. Ethanol, I was a little offended that he left me out of there because I hate the government pretty fucking bad. With equal fervor, ethanol is nothing more than a tax guised as a mutually beneficial product to the environment and farmer alike, not even accounting for the energy used to plant, harvest, and process the grain into ethanol. Just from a molecular standpoint, ethanol is approximately 30% less efficient than standard gas. It actually reduces your fuel mileage and engine power on top of increased maintenance cost. And while I don't think I need to worry about you boys being Al Gore-loving global warming Kool-Aid drinkers, once you account for all of the emissions in the process to create ethanol and compare it on a standard unit basis, ethanol actually creates more emissions to produce over a number of traditional hydrocarbon extraction and manufacturing processes. Ethanol in America is nothing more than a gift to big ag at the expense of every American's pocketbook. A mandate on increased ethanol is nothing different than a new tax being mandated. Fuck that. I get that farmers are in a bind right now, but there are other avenues to go down besides ethanol mandates. Matt Griggs has talked about some things that can be done in regards to reducing inputs and seed populations. Yeah. Me and him talked today about it. Last time I wrote in, I think I gave some statistics about how much prices go up if every farmer just removes 5% of their marginal ground from production. There was a great quote I heard recently in a podcast that I'm drawing a blank on, but we'll write back in with it. It is something along the lines of, it is not the cards that you are dealt that matter, it is how you play them. Anyway, I have rambled and cussed enough. Keep up the show. I'm actually a couple behind right now and playing catch up. Looking forward to y'all's responses. P.S. If y'all ever want to discuss in more depth, I duck hunt and have a very good bourbon selection that will travel. Have a good one, fellas. So appreciate you.
Yeah, I know the ethanol thing. Right. I go out of my way to buy non-ethanol gas to put in any of my small engines.
Yeah.
And actually, there was something the other day. I guess it was on my wife's car. And I've never really paid attention since we talked more about ethanol. I think hers may say nothing over E20.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd have to look at it. But anyway, so yes, it does come down to, is like, does the consumer really want it? Does it make sense? Just from the corn grower standpoint, like, well, we want whatever we can find to sop up a lot of this oversupply we have. But right, it's pretty nuanced subject in terms of, does it really even make sense? Or is it just that, some of the lobbying groups, some of them we may be wearing their hat right now,
yeah,
have worked really hard to push that. And I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Well, and that's what because like I said, man, it would help if we could burn more of our own domestic use of corn. It would help. And on a couple of things I did want to touch on.
Well, and I think I like the idea as much as, I don't have an electric vehicle, have no desire to have one. I do think it's good that they're working on that. Maybe one day they'll have one where it makes sense. Like they can make a pickup where you can actually tow a load all day long or a few hundred miles and back home without having to stop and short, getting it to that point. And one day we may truly run out of fossil fuels, but as of right now, I don't think we're at any, impending risk of that happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know energy And especially like we've already mentioned the data centers and all this stuff, energy demands are just constantly going up. But
so a couple of things on it though. I thought, so have you seen the John Deere E98 tractor?
I saw Corey
Yep.
with Farm for Profit. He was that the electric tractor he was driving, I'm sure?
No, that's it runs on 98% ethanol. It's gas.
Okay, so it was just that's right. I'm getting my
They put, from my understanding,
so it was a pretty much
almost 100%
full
ethanol
tractor. That's right.
From my understanding, they put like 2% gas in there, but keep people from drinking it. Like, I think that's almost what they do.
Desperate times, man.
Yeah. So see, that's kind of, that tractor would almost be.
That's right. I said electric, but no. Yeah. It was a ethanol tractor.
Yeah. That would almost be one of my counters, because Corey pointed this out and I was watching Corey's video and I'm like fascinated by this E98 tractor. The fuel, I'm pretty sure, is like substantially cheaper. And he had a breakdown of this, and I can't remember what all he said, but the fuel was way cheaper. And then, not only that, but he was kind of like, how cool is it that I'm out here like using this tractor to grow the crops that will then one day fuel the tractor that I'm using.
Right.
And see, the other thing with like the ethanol production, I know, because we've had some other people that are like, I don't want good cropland going to ethanol. Well, the byproduct of ethanol goes to feed the animals. You know, I mean, that, what do they call that?
Well, and I guess, of course, like he was talking, how efficient is it really, does the tractor burn more ethanol than it's helping create?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, the answer should be no.
Yeah.
You're growing way more corn than you need just to power the tractor to grow the corn.
Yeah.
Then, it would absolutely make no sense.
But could you imagine, to me, I'm like, how cool would it be if we one day got to a point where all the tractors burn ethanol?
Well, or like, I don't know when it would happen, and we may by then come up with much more efficient ways to, for renewable fuel or energy. But like, I mean, again, I don't think, I'm not an expert on, global oil, production or reserves or whatever. Supposedly we get enough in Alaska, to last forever.
Yeah.
If we ever had to tap into that, like, okay, maybe one day, they're looking at like, we're going to run out of fossil fuels about X date, which again, if they ever said that, I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
We're still waiting on the ocean levels to start rising.
Yeah. He mentioned Al Gore. Where are you at?
But, it'd be nice, like, hey, and as long as we can keep growing corn, we can keep, powering vehicles and whatnot.
And you know what's nice about those? They require no DEF.
Yeah.
You don't have to burn any DEF. See that, and they still argue, because I pulled up an article on it.
But then you would need the DEF to grow the corn.
Not if you're using all. No. Oh, you're talking about in the fertilizer. That's true.
You need the urea to grow corn.
We're using it there.
So you're going to need it one way or the other.
Yeah. Except we're just not having to buy it twice.
Yeah. Right. You're not having to put it in the tractor and
on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Look, I mean, I don't hate anything that you said in this, Bryson. No.
And that's,
and here's my big thing.
I mean, it's a tricky subject because, again, a lot of these, we won't. I say we. I kind of like cheap corn, but I don't want all the corn growers to go broke either. And as I'm now a member of the Tennessee Corn Growers Association,
right now you invested in there. You got some meat in the skin in the game.
I want y'all to make a little profit.
Yeah,
like just a little. Like get to put food on your table. Buy your kids a little something for Christmas, but keep that feed cheap.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I want the consumer ultimately, and I still am a believer that the consumer, they vote with their dollars, how we've always said. I mean, if the ethanol, because I don't see this as like a total replacement either. Like I feel like we've mentioned, not all stations would even have this, because this would essentially be a new pump added. They'd have to have a whole separate pump for the E20 or E15, whatever it is. And there still would be options. Like, I want the people to have options. That's what I would like to see. If I could have a perfect ethanol thing, I would actually like to see like a E20. And then, hell, the E20 is probably, I think we talked about it, but it's probably 30 or 40 cents a gallon cheaper than the regular. And
I
so
don't know at what price point would people be willing to say, okay, it might not be quite as good for the long term.
I feel like I'd run 20% if it might, I mean, they claim 2001 and newer are okay. I think with burning this ethanol.
See, that barely gets my Jeep in.
Yeah. But like,
I need to pay attention to Kaylin's fuel cap. And hers is like a 2020.
Because we mentioned in Europe, it's like E30. They're burning like 30% in Europe.
And like those Land Cruisers are real popular overseas. I wonder if they just have to, like if you're driving one of them specifically, you have to find a
non-ethanol
or a lower ethanol.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because I remember I was just saying to us, like, I've never really, which, she probably more than half the time when it needs gas, she's the one pumping it. But,
well, if
I don't know.
If all the people truly are like, we don't want that shit, then I don't want it pushed on nobody. Yeah. Like I'm still.
Like I say, I had put some gas in my daughter's four-wheeler this evening, and I've got 4 of them big jugs from agzaga.com.
Yeah,
commodity jugs. I had about 2 gallons in one of them. I need to make a trip by Pops this weekend or one day.
I went
fill them all back
a couple days ago because that's what I put in my lawnmower and my side by side. Yeah.
And so you're the same way as me. Your side by side's fuel injected though.
Yeah, but I still put non-ethanol in it. I think it's just been beat into my head like a 4-wheeler.
So, sometimes, like if I've got mine on the trailer and I'm going back past the gas station, I know it needs fuel. I have put ethanol fuel in side by side, but never in the lawnmower, chainsaw, boat, weed eater, anything like that. Anything small, anything carbureted for sure.
Appreciate you writing in, Bryson. Again, I don't hate anything he said. I feel like answering you and responding as real as we can. All right. So Jacob writes in and he said, I hope I catch y'all's top 3 worst farm jobs in time. I don't have any certain order with them, as in they all kind of suck. He says, suckering tobacco is something I never like doing. After about 5 minutes, your hand gets sticky and everything sticks to you. The little bit of, I mentioned my old plants. That's how, man, they got so sticky. Having
some fraternity brothers that were from tobacco country and kind of Middle Tennessee area, damn near anything with tobacco sounds like it sucks. Other than consuming it.
Yeah, except consuming it. That's true.
Probably selling it was probably pretty fun.
Yeah, that part might be all right. Yeah, get a good paycheck. Yeah, he said cleaning out the grain bin with a scoop shovel.
Yep.
It seemed Dad only wanted to do it on the hottest days after I had a late night partying and drinking those adult beverages. Cleaning out the grain bin.
Your dad probably knew where you'd been the night before.
And that's why he's doing it. We're going to get that out of him. Cleaning out the grain bin is a terrible job. That sweeping it, I have fortunately missed out on like the last 2 cleanings out of the grain bin. That is a terrible thing. Have you ever gotten in on that?
No.
That sucks because you're inside there and you kind of, sometimes we'll put on a mask, but we take you can take a shovel or we take a push broom because it's got the little auger that runs around, the little sweeper, but it don't get it all. So you have to sweep it out. It sucks. It is terrible. So yeah, I can agree with you there. And then this last one is one, we just don't have this problem around here. Last would be picking up rocks.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not talking about with a skid loader or tractor bucket. We loaded wagons full of rough, heavy rocks all by hand. I swear some fields we grew better rocks than corn or soybeans. Love the show. Y'all kick ass. Thanks, Jacob.
The closest thing we would have to that is that I remember as a kid, our dads had, as they had bought some farms, over the years and whatnot, and they'd be cleaning them up with a dozer and picking up chunks.
Picking up chunks.
Sucks. Let's go pick up chunks. Like it'd be like Sunday afternoon, and you didn't think you had much to do. They'd be like, "Hey, look, let's go pick up chunks."
Yeah, like that's exactly what I wanted to do today.
Yeah,
I did not want to sit here and watch TV.
Which nowadays you'd at least have a side by side. You'd ride around, you'd fill the bed of it up.
Yeah, yeah. Gosh dang it, there's been a lot of times of that. Unfortunately, I've even had to do that, like that farm at Bolton.
Yeah,
I just walk out there and we'll sweep it with the bulldozer or something, and you still got to walk around and pick up chunks.
Yeah.
Which we had one guy who used to run the planter for us. He'd just plant around them. Literally, there'd be it'd be a limb on the side of the field. You just go around it. It wouldn't even be a big limb. Like you could get off the tractor and move it.
I'll get off. I had a cutting hay today. which all these are fields that I'm cutting for the first time this year.
It's a lot of limbs around the edge.
Well, and I fertilized all of this ground except for just like a few acres. That's just kind of one little field off to itself. But dadgum, a big ass oak tree blown down. I mean, but there wasn't no moving it.
Yeah.
Like,
I got a few fields like
there's
that.
going to be a lot of chainsaw work, or they're going to need like a dozer.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy Luke, I was at his house, and I did, which he's like me, kids about the same age. There was lots of baseballs and softballs, which of course I can't even see them. There was a couple things. It was like a bucket. Like somehow I didn't hit it. I picked it up and moved it out of the way. But yeah, no, I generally when we're cutting hay, yeah, I'll get off. But yeah, we don't have the rocks. Like you see these videos of guys in the Midwest, like yeah, they're like they have to like legitimately go out there and pick up rocks.
Well, you mentioned Corey earlier. I saw a thing the other day. They actually roll them. Did you see his video where they roll and press them
to push them in the ground?
Yeah. They roll the beans
when they're especially I guess when they're cutting beans, so they can run that header low without running the rock through it.
And I actually had a corn header, or not a corn header, a bean header. It had a high rock guard. That's what they call it. And like where the knives are, normally they have like a lip about that tall. This one had a really tall one. And they called it a high rock guard. And I didn't like it.
The biggest thing we would probably have to worry about is like, you know, in a creek bottom or somewhere where a creek gets out and like there'd be a massive stump or something that got washed into the field that you can't see.
Yeah. Chunks is not, or rocks is not a problem out here. So
no, we do not have rocks.
But appreciate you writing in, Jacob. I always appreciate the emails. We got several more. We will get to y'all next week. I've got a topic I wanted to hit on. This comes from a social media post that it was on one of our videos, and it was talking about the subsidies. That's what it was. It was a comment on the subsidies thing, and a guy said, "Just quit growing row crops, eliminate row crops, and go all cattle." And I took it as like just eliminate row cropping. And I responded to him and I said, well, that would be disastrous. And I gave several reasons.
Well, and like we need those crops to feed the animals, which I'm sure they would counter and say, well, we could just go 100% grass fed. Well, I don't think the consumer as a whole wants that. I mean, there's some people that do. And two, man, you probably do the math and whatnot, how much longer it would take to finish those animals out. Like
I got a lot of math here.
Okay. So yeah, there you go.
I got a lot of shit because I was like,
and I think we both agree that we probably ought to move somewhat in that direction.
Yeah.
You know, especially with current, cattle prices versus, grain prices. Like, yeah, probably ought to take some of those, what are you talking about, those marginal acres out.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of people around here, our dads, some of them took a lot of acres out of pasture and put in row crop. And I mean, everywhere around here. I mean, you can still drive past a lot of crop fields. There's still old fences.
Yep.
There are remnants of them still there where there used to be cattle out there. But yeah, I don't think so his comment was 100%.
Eliminate row crop.
Like you won't ever see a combine in the United States again.
Yeah. So I ran a scenario if we eliminated row crop operating. Okay. This is corn, soybeans, wheat, and cotton. And I did. I talked to our buddy Matt Griggs today. Me and him were texting back and forth about kind of this similar thing about growing too much. And me and him both, because I cut my nitrogen back this year. I even cut my population back on corn. And Matt cut his back, and he cut his nitrogen back. And that's what we're kind of like. Let's stop trying to do these bin busting yields. Let's shoot for good yields. But let's crank it back. Let's actually shoot for making some money.
Right.
Let's try to have a good ROI.
Right. And obviously a higher yield is more gross, but that's not necessarily more net.
That's right.
Because
there is a sweet spot in there.
Yeah, you spend so damn much, like these guys that win these yield contests. But my God, they've got
$900 to $1,000 an acre.
Right. So is it actually more profitable to yield 200 bushels and have a fraction of the inputs?
Yep. So I ran this down. So if we eliminated here in the U.S., here's the land that there is 95 million acres of corn. This is based in 2025. These are the numbers from 2025. There was 95 million acres of corn, 83 million acres of soybeans, 45 million acres of wheat, and 10 million acres of cotton. So if we eliminated row crop, those row crop right there out the gate, that is 240 million acres of row crops total. That is just land. That's just nothing's done with. And the thing that I really got to thinking was, all right, and nobody ever thinks about this and I had not thought about this a lot, but like normally when we talk about eliminating this, we look at like, okay, think about the grocery stores and the food loss and things. Well, I got to thinking today after we went to Louisville and we saw the vast array of companies and businesses that are all in the row crop sector. There was a ton of cattle in there, but there was a ton of row crop. Okay, if you eliminated row crop operations, you would eliminate all those companies. Like the companies that make row crop equipment, the companies that make inputs for row crop, like some of your tractor companies, well, then they'd have to shift their focus to like hay production or, construction and things like that. But as far as
cattle handling equipment, I don't know what that would look like. Could you replace all those jobs within like the animal agriculture?
See, and I don't think you could.
Well, and then too, because like wheat, for example, obviously, because a lot of the corn, does go to animal feed, a lot of the soy, but there are, plenty of other things that are made out of those crops as well. But yeah, like wheat, like are we going to eliminate any of that?
I'm taking this as eliminating all of it.
Okay.
Here is how many jobs in the U.S. do you think America's food and agriculture system supports?
Oh, God. A few.
49 million.
Yeah. 49
million. About 1 in 3 jobs in the country are tied into the U.S.'s ag system in some capacity. That could be a manufacturer of equipment. That could be a marketer for a seed company or something but they are employed there. And the people actually farming are less than 2% of employment. So for every one person on a tractor, there's about 7 to 8 people whose paycheck depends on that tractor running. So that was like, wow, that's kind of wild in here. So the inputs, fertilizer, because I wanted to specifically try to narrow this down to like, all right, just row crop it. If you eliminated that. So if row crop disappears, these are pretty close estimates. Fertilizer, you'd lose about 500,000 jobs, $140 billion of an economic impact on the U.S.
And was that looking at, you still would need some fertilizer because obviously we fertilize our hay and our pasture ground. But
this is eliminating like the corn because corn is the single biggest fertilizer.
So still
customer.
Accounting for there being some fertilizer demands, but not near as much.
Yes. So you would lose, this is the economic impact on the U.S. there would be $140 billion. Seed and crop protection. So Corteva, Bayer, Syngenta, BASF, all those, that's about 150,000 to 250,000 jobs. And again, there'd be the smaller stuff like for your grass.
Yeah. A lot of people plant annuals for forages, whether it's to graze or to cut for hay.
Yep. But in general, you could say row crop gone, probably going to lose 150 to 250,000 jobs. Then the big one was equipment. The U.S. off-highway equipment industry supports 2.2 million jobs and $415 billion in gross domestic production. The ag slice, and this would be your dealerships, people at the parts counters, all that service bay, 400 to 600,000 jobs. That's the marketing people, the engineers, welders, guy behind the desk. Then you got the grain elevators, co-ops, rail, barge, trucking. That's another 150,000 to 300,000. And then plus we talked earlier about ethanol. Well, the ethanol plants, soybean crushing, flour, corn, milling. So the bottom line here is, and this is very conservative, but direct plus input plus handling plus processing alone would be at least 2 million jobs just eliminated. That's like right out the gate. With the rural town ripple effect, it would be more between 2 to 5 million American jobs would be just vaporized. The farm gate value of those 4 crops would be 130 to 150 billion per year. The total economic footprint with inputs, processing, transport, and spending is actually 400 to 700 billion. So they say every $1 of ag exports generates $2 in additional domestic activity. So you would eliminate that. So like when people think like, oh, we'll just eliminate them, that is massive dollars and massive jobs we're talking about.
Do you have a figure for how many acres of those crops are grown?
It's 240 million acres of the of corn, soybean, wheat, and cotton.
Okay, so 240 million acres that we're going to convert into grazing or maybe growing.
All right, I've got cattle math here. Is that what you were getting to?
Well, right. I was just wondering how many then more cattle could we graze?
A lot.
Those acres.
Here's what I did.
It's going to vary by region. You know, some areas they need 100 acres per cow-calf pair, which they're probably not growing corn and soybeans in those regions either.
Here's what I did. I figured if this scenario happened, I figured 25% of the land will get gobbled up by developers immediately. Like if the farmers, because you read the stories where the farmers held out and turned down the big checks. And so.
Right. Rather than that ground going to cattle production, or livestock just in general, it'll be developed.
Yeah. Because you're going to have some of the farmers that are like, now I have lost my livelihood. I've lost everything. And so they're going to be out. And so developers. So I said, let's just say 25% of that. So out of the 240 million, or it's 25% goes to development. That's 60 million acres paved, subdivided, warehoused, solar panels, whatever you want to do. For scale, that'd be roughly the size of the entire state of Oregon. So that leaves 180 million acres to put under grass and cattle. Now here was the math. Now I'm going to ask if you would agree with this. 2.5 acres to run one cow-calf pair on decent converted ground. I know it's going to vary, but would you say on average?
I'd say if it's good crop ground, so it's either irrigated or in an area like we are where you get enough rain. Right. If it's good corn and soybean ground, you could probably, that's not a crazy number. 2.5 acres per cow-calf pair.
All right. So how many cattle? That'd be 72 million mother cows.
So that's 180 million acres.
Yeah. Its range is between 60 to 90 million because it's kind of varying on some of the land strength, but it's saying 72 million.
Yeah, cow-calf pairs, which I would also point out. All right, you probably don't want to put all those acres into cow-calf because cow-calf, I'm only getting that. I would even say this is a really good point. You can't do that because now we're not going to have any grains to feed those cattle. And so,
but that's the later ripple. Yeah.
So once that calf is weaned, then that calf has to go to a grazing operation somewhere else. And now it's going to be grazed all the way until it's finished because it's not going to be finished in the feed yard anymore because we're not growing those feeds. And so, I don't know. I don't know. Do you have any math on that? Like how many acres? Because I bet it's closer to, if that's 72 million more cow-calf pairs, I'd say it's maybe only a third of that you can actually increase your numbers by.
Well, the problem,
because you need all that extra, again, forage to grow them all the way to whatever your slaughter weight's going to be, which I would imagine our carcass sizes are going to get a little smaller.
Well, see, this here says so here was kind of going down, and the feed does come into play. But the entire U.S. beef cow herd today is only 27 million head.
Yeah.
And so that was of January 26.
Yeah. Well, and so now, okay, let's say you could, you said it's 27 million?
27 million.
Well,
now, all cattle.
That'd be roughly a third of that number. So let's say, all right, we can double our cow herd now.
But where are you going to get the cows?
Well, I mean, we could get there eventually.
Yeah, but see, this is like,
oh, yeah, you can't do it overnight. But let's just say, okay, we could do it eventually. Well, okay, well, now we got twice as many cattle. Now, carcasses probably aren't going to be as big. But, you say roughly we're going to have twice as much beef. I mean, I know there's a big push for the proteins and people eating carnivore, but are we going to get people to do that? Are people going to be willing to do that now that it's all grass-fed?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about probably take generations to change people's eating habits that much.
Yeah.
And so I don't think probably would. Like you're not going to double the demand for beef consumption.
No, and here's the thing.
I mean, maybe eventually with growing population. I don't know.
Well, see, here's the other element because there's a lot of ripples. When I was running, there was a lot of ripples.
This person I don't think could be taken seriously.
No, right? But I was like, this is something people need to think about. So you've made the remark the cure for high prices is high prices. Like, that's, you've said that many times about the cattle industry.
The market works. Yeah.
And that is so true. And that's where I'm like, okay, because here's another element you'd have happen. Let's say some of these big ass row crop operations, 20, 30,000 acre operations or more. If suddenly a bill was passed and it eliminated some, whatever, for this scenario, it's done. Those guys would sell out and they're going to take their millions of dollars, because some of them will have what we call old money. And then they're going to go buy big ass cow herds. They're going to convert. They're going to be like, okay, well, we'll get into the cattle world.
Which of course, those guys, but all that equipment they've got ain't worth nothing.
It ain't worth nothing.
They won't be able to sell it at all.
No, yeah. I mean, it won't be worth nothing.
Combine will be worth $0.
But can you imagine what that'll do?
I guess you'd have some kind of a market where you could sell them and they'd go overseas, where they do grow those.
Yeah. And then, we'd buy a loaf of bread for like $100.
Yeah.
But you think about too, what's that going to do?
We'll go carnivore.
Yes.
You won't be eating bread anymore.
And what is that going to do to cattle prices if suddenly you have guys with big money suddenly all jumping into cattle? It's just going to continue to skyrocket the cattle price. But then eventually it's going to tank the cattle prices.
Well, there's just so many variables here. But then eventually you're going to have to, the consumers are going to have to eat some more beef, because there's not going to be the other. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit of a fun topic, but
if you bought 72 million head of cattle at $4,000 a piece, that's like a cow calf pair. That's $290 billion. Yeah. And then to fence it, 3.4 million miles of fencing.
And see but now the argument is, well, that's replacing a lot of those jobs.
Yeah.
Manufacturing, instead of us manufacturing, combines and cotton pickers,
they're driving fences.
Now we're manufacturing, barbed wire and T-posts.
They would have to. Yeah. I think that you could run through the scenario.
Think about how many more cattle trailers these
they'd have to be hiring and doing a bunch.
Would be producing. So some of it would offset each other. But yeah, I think we have a pretty good system in terms of, we're overproducing, corn and soybeans specifically right now. But no, I for one, I like grain finished beef.
I do too.
And I think even my cows on pasture, I supplement, and I guess, again, the counter to that argument, well, you'd have so much more pasture available to you because all this row crop ground, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would be absolutely catastrophic. And it would cause,
and who knows who that was? Was it on a YouTube video?
It was on our Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name on there, but I responded. I was like, man, that'd be disastrous. Think about that. I think I said that would be like hundreds of thousands of jobs lost. But in reality, when I got to looking, it's like, no, you're talking between 2 to 5 million jobs would be lost essentially on that. So yeah, it's a wild thing. We do got a few more emails and we'll try to all get to those hopefully next week. I got to find out for sure. We may have, I don't remember the date of next week. We might have somebody in here next week.
Next week, is that the
1st?
1st of July will be someday next week, because it'll be like Wednesday, maybe Tuesday.
I think Wednesday.
Wednesday's the 1st, because Saturday's the 4th.
I think Al Gore is going to be in here next week.
Oh, so we're going to have a guest on Wednesday?
Oh no, we might. I got to verify. Yeah,
let me know, because I'm going to be knee deep in hayfield.
Okay, yeah.
Neck deep is probably better.
Neck deep. All right.
So if they could come in the morning before the dew dries off, we'll talk about that more often.
All right. Yeah.
Because once the dew gets dried off,
hammer down.
Yeah.
No, we've got several up and coming things. But before we get into all that,
let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
Made in America. All right. This one, I don't remember if we've done this one. I know they had a hell of a PR campaign here recently, but Dr. Squatch Soap. Have we ever done them?
Not that I know of.
All right. They're made in USA. We had to go into town last night. I needed some new soap, and I use Duke Cannon most of the time, which is also made in USA. But I wanted to try this Dr. Squatch. I bought some of it. It's pine tar scent. And man, it smells awesome.
I've seen it.
It's gritty. Like I like the stuff that kind of like shaves your skin off almost as you're using it.
We have done it before.
Yeah, they did the Sydney Sweeney bath soap one, I think.
Yeah, well, we did it a while back. I'm just looking through my list, but that's okay.
All right, I was thinking we might have. I was like, I don't, because they did the Sweeney.
They were the ones that did the supposedly it's her bath water.
Yeah, it had like one drop of her bath water in it or something.
I'm sure I guess she took a bath and then I'm sure they just put it in a vat. Then they turned into 1 million bars.
Yeah, made a fortune off of it. But they are made in USA, and the pine tar soap is pretty pimp. I like it, man. It's it smells like, I don't know, pine is just I like the scent of pine.
You couldn't find the Sydney?
No, I think wasn't it like a limited run?
Yeah.
I think some people were paying like crazy money for that.
There's
some weirdos. Some guys, some dude's really washing his nuts and balls. Like he's washing his wiener with that pretty hard.
Doing that and having phone sex. And,
It all comes back full circle. Yeah. But check it out, Dr. Squatch. It is made in USA. Also, guys, again, share this episode with your friends. Can't urge you enough to do that. We do ask that you would leave us 5-star ratings wherever you listen, wherever you're tuning in. Hit that like button, hit comment, send us your questions, top 3 suggestions, any of that. Go to talkdirtpodcast.com. Go to the contact page, submit your question. What else?
Check out agzaga.com. Use the discount code TalkDirt20. Whatever you want to buy there, it doesn't matter. Fill that shopping cart up, take $20 off that $50 minimum order, and get the free shipping.
Yep. Appreciate you guys. See ya.
You've been listening to Talk Dirt to Me with your hosts, Logan and Bobby Lee. If you enjoyed this episode, we ask that you subscribe and leave a review. And we'll catch you next time.